Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and, we typically feature a beer of the week. I am Matt. With me, as always, is Lauren. In today's episode, for 240, it is halfway through, actually almost all the way through now. Dang, time flies when you're having fun. We're going to be talking about cryptids. We've done some cryptid stuff in the past. There's just so many to talk about. So we figure, like cryptids part 2 or 3 at this point. We're going to talk about some that I have learned from being in the Virginia, Maryland area. Lauren's got some, and we're going to talk about that. So if this is your first time, we talk about, the beer of the week. Then we dive into what we're reading or watching, as well as some news before our main topic. And if you'd like, please go ahead, like, subscribe, share, follow, all the good stuff. Hops Geek News is where you can find us. We make it really simple for you. And then you can also catch us on Nerd Initiative. Turn a page on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then also our written comic book reviews on nerdinitiative.com every Wednesday. So my beer of the week, shout out to Bird Girl Bottle Shop in Newport News. This is like my go-to bottle shop now. I love them a ton. They've got some of the best pizza I have found in the Hampton Roads region. It is the Bride of Dankenstein. It is a West Coast IPA out of Mason Ale Works. Dude, I love Mason Ale Works for all of the different can arts that they have, and they have some really cool Halloween ones this year. Usually 19 Crimes has the good wines, which we actually did get the Bride of Frankenstein wine. Carrie and I like to enjoy that, but this is a 7%er from Mason Ale Works. Like I've already said, it's really cool, man. I just dig the can art. It's got a really cool rendition of Frankenstein's Bride on there. I'm a sucker for can art. The hops, like really, really cool. Like in the light, the eyes gleam really this cool green color. And I want to say, if you're in the Hampton Roads area, man, go to Bird Girl Bottle Shop because, dude, by bar none, the best pizza I have had. They make everything there with their own dough, all of that stuff. Cannot recommend enough. And then their bottle shop, they have so many really, you get Trillium there even. You can get, Civil Society, Tripping Animals, like a lot of really cool stuff from different regions aside from just Virginia. So Lauren, I would like to throw this on over to you as the Batman, and I'm just the guy in the chair. You do all the heavy lifting, research, prep time. What are you drinking over there?
So I didn't have any specific cryptid themed beers, so I went and got a beer that would help you find cryptids. Cosmic Cowboy from Family Business Brewing. So this is brewed by Gene Winchester himself. I figured it was good for a cryptids episode, and I got my little squirrel with me. So my mom was like getting rid of so much stuff when she moved into her new house, and she found a bunch of Beanie Babies from like McDonald's from the years and like gave them to my kids. And I found the squirrel, and I was like, oh nope, that's actually mine, and I'm taking it. And now I keep it next to an empty can of Cosmic Cowboy. And I got my Ursula.
It's a fun ride, but
it is a fun ride. I got my Ursula ears on because I feel like I've been, wearing the ears while we're recording is making it so I have an excuse to buy more ears because I don't always bring them to the parks.
It's like my Roosevelt. I put them on for each episode. Now yours is Disney shirts, and look at us. We started something that our significant others are just going to yell at us for.
Well, and you can't really see. I actually have a really cool shirt on. This is my Florida Woman Halloween shirt I got from oh my God, what is it called? Florida Hand Goods? Something Hand Goods. Anyways, it's a girl in a bathing suit and a witch riding alligators. And I absolutely love it.
Oh, that's cool.
Free Hand Goods.
I've got like this.
So this is a little shop.
I don't know why.
I froze. I didn't even get to see it.
Oh, well, I have a shirt
from Free Hand Goods.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Go continue.
But they sell, it's like a little store that sells craft beer and then really cool stuff. Like I got a sticker that says beers, but it's Jaws, but it says beers like Jaws. And they focus a lot on like Florida culture. And like there's one that I really love with like a girl with her feet in like a little pool, and there's a little alligator in there, and she's like sunbathing with a flamingo. So as like somebody who's lived in Florida her whole life, like I really fucking love their shit, and they have good beer too. Cool. And their beer glasses are so pretty. I go, how often do people steal these? And they kind of looked at me. They're like, every now and then, like, are you going to steal it? I did not steal it. I mean,
no, we don't steal pint glasses anymore.
Exactly. No, it's small businesses. Yeah.
Support. Yeah. Like, especially now more than ever, man, local comic book, anything local that you can support, do so, please. It's hard out there, dude. It really is.
Well, and I hate when I go to a brewery and I get a fun glass and then I go back like 6 months later and it's a plain glass because they had an issue with stealing. So now they can't have pretty glasses anymore.
Yeah, man. And glasses make half the fun at the brewery.
Can't have nice things. Yeah.
It also helps me remember when I'm taking a picture of the, like what brewery I was at, because we go to so many. So it's Hey, it says it on the glass. Yay, I remember where we were at. Thank God.
Yeah, and it's better Instagram beer pictures. It's all
Is
about the doing it for the gram, even though the Instagram is the least interacted place with these days, I feel
I
like.
I don't even like social media. I'm a grouchy old man. But what I do like is going into what we've messed up on or looked into. And I just want to say one final shout out to anybody who has donated, because we dropped off last week all of the supplies to go to Asheville. And it turned out to be 650 pounds of like non perishable food, non clothing items, stuff like that, that we dropped off to the food pantry to get there. So I'm talking diapers, feminine products, wipes, children's medicine, all like canned goods, all that
Bare
stuff.
necessities.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
650 pounds. Dope, man. Like, thank you. And then on top of that, we actually brought in another 200 pounds of clothes that we are actually also able to donate. So, man, everything goes, a little bit goes a long way. And anybody who helped, even a dollar or whatever, just thank you for making that happen. And Lauren's obviously still with us, so we don't have to donate to get her house from the hurricane if you listen to last episode. But Lauren,
I
do you
was
have anything
pretty
for us
buzzed
to update on?
during last week's recordings. I know, and this will actually be the last time we mention Hops Geek Booze for Haley. You can still sign up until the end of October, although we will probably do this again next year because we've had an amazing turnout. So
Oh,
one more
yeah, we
time,
have.
yeah, I want to say thank you one more time to Stacy, Tabby, Scott, Patrick, Micah, Andrew, Megan, Riley, and Tom. Again, this is a run that we're all doing to, it's $40 after tax and all that crap. And it goes to research for pediatric brain cancer, specifically DIPG, which a friend of mine lost her daughter to. Hence the name Hops Geek Booze for Haley. And we are all running a 5K. You can even lie if you want. If you lie for a good cause, isn't that
You don't
make
even,
it okay?
you don't even have
It's
to
a whole
run.
moral argument there, but yeah, you can just donate. But no, I've been so impressed with the turnout we've had because a bunch of our friends, they did the United for Haley or UCF United for Haley, and we're kicking their ass. So it may be about raising awareness and research, but it's also about kicking your friends' asses in a
And
friendly
fun.
competition.
I'm a very competitive person, so anytime there's some fun competitiveness to it, that's also for a good cause. I'm so in. I did my 5K this morning when we're recording this. It was actually my first sub 30-minute 5K that I've done in years.
Yeah,
So
you ran that fast.
I don't know what got into me. Maybe it's the whole reason we're doing this, but it's just good, man. We're all about helping people, especially in this uncertain time. So thanks to everybody for helping us.
And if you
Let's
still want to join, links in our link tree. That's
Yeah,
all I
the
got.
links in the link tree do that. And then, Lauren, so why don't we go into what we've been reading or watching? I've got a longer list, so why don't you kick us off this week?
So I actually have not read the first one that I'm going to mention. My review this week is Barfly number 3. I haven't read it yet, but I can't imagine that it's not absolutely phenomenal. And the other comic I'm reviewing for Nerd Initiative this week is House of Slaughter number 26. Haven't read that yet. However, I did read the first 20 issues of House of
What have
Slaughter
you
this
done?
weekend. I've done nothing. Well, I did
Besides
have a rough
drink way too many car
Saturday. Yeah.
bombs Friday night, because I was genuinely concerned uh, when you did Drink Around the World for Kaylee's first time 21st birthday, and I was following Megan's Instagram because it was fun. She was updating every stop, and they just kept going, and I would see Kaylee's eyes get like smaller and smaller, and then at one point they like opened back up, and I was like, oh my god, did she just like she
Well,
came back
she
to
also
life?
wore contacts, so she didn't have sunglasses on. She
Well,
forgot to
that
bring
makes
sunglasses.
sense. But like me, my
So
eyes
yeah,
squint when I start to fade, and then I was like, Megan, oh my god, are you guys like, please don't die? And she was like, we
I
were
don't
sharing
know
drinks, and
how they do
there
that. Maybe at the
was just,
beginning.
oh my god,
So
it was
anybody doesn't know, yeah,
hilarious.
my daughter turned 21 and her friend Megan did their first drinks around the world at Epcot. And we had a really great turnout. A bunch of my friends, it was only people who have known Kaylee since she was born were invited. But it's an expensive day. So it was really just Kaylee, Megan,
Yeah,
and Sergio as far as the kids, and the rest of them were all grown-ups. She had grandparents there. Her biological dad was there, obviously. Her stepdad was there, my husband, and a bunch of my friends from high school. So it was a little bit of a fun reunion. And Megan was like, "Dude, that girl can take a shot like a champ." She was throwing
really.
things back,
I
chugging,
That girl
car
is the
bombs.
best. I hope I get to see her when I'm in Orlando. I because she's I would adopt her in a heartbeat. Like, I
I
just
think
come
they're
here,
all gonna
come here.
work MegaCon again because Ski got MegaCon again, so that should be fun. I'm sure
Yeah,
she'll be there.
but they're
But
awesome.
so yeah, so I was hungover Saturday, but I did read the first 21 issues of House of Slaughter, which
Are
is
you enjoying it?
fantastic. So
Yeah.
good. So it's a spin-off from Something's Killing the Children, and it's like every 5 issues is like a standalone story, but then there was one like the first 5 issues were about Butcher, and then there's, 5 issues about somebody else in another one of the houses, and then it goes back to Butcher, and then another, so it's little, like, glimpses of 5 stories, and they go back and forth from the past to, like, they kinda mention the present, like, they'll mention
Mhm.
Erica Slaughter here and there, and she'll be different ages, but it's so good. If you like Something's Killing the Children, you'll love House of Slaughter. If you haven't read either of them and you like horror comics, these are fantastic comics, and I wanted to do House of Slaughter because they're doing a whole panel at New York Comic Con this weekend,
Yeah.
which by the time this is drops, I should be
Back, hopefully.
actually, I should be
Alive.
headed to the airport to fly home. So I will definitely do some sort of video or something. You gotta follow all the socials. I don't know what the hell I'm already overwhelmed. All I've done all day today is do shit for New York Comic Con.
That's fair. Lauren's gonna have a lot of fun at New York Comic Con, so make sure you go to our socials and Nerd Initiative socials to follow the journey, because I didn't get to go. So I'm living through Lauren, but I will be the guy in the chair for anything she wants to post. So we will make sure we have stuff out there. Don't worry about it. I haven't read House of Slaughter, honestly, but I've heard good things. I'm a big Something is Killing the Children fan. But I just haven't gotten to reading that. So that's pretty rad.
Yeah, and I got some of the trade backs on Target for like less than $10.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, Target's an up and comer in the comic book game, but if you can't find it at your local comic book shop and they can't get it for some reason, then you can go to the big companies. We'll allow
Yeah.
it. I won't bust in
I mean,
kneecaps.
well, plus, if you can't afford it, I'd rather you buy the cheaper ones than not buy them at
They still
all.
get a piece of the pie,
But
man.
yeah.
So as long as you're buying these mediums, it still goes to the creators in some sort of way. So
Yeah. And
for
outside of
sure.
the most recent issue of Agatha, I've only watched things to prep for New York Comic Con. One being Mayfair Witches, because Tom asked me to cover that panel. I'm
What's
like, I
Mayfair
don't even know what it
Witches?
is. It is a show on AMC, which I just learned. There's the first season is out, and I guess they're going to premiere the first episode of the second season at the con. So Tom wanted me to cover that, so I'm covering that. Hopefully, I get through all of it. I got a lot of mileage to run Wednesday, so I'm going to try to get through that. So it's actually kind of cool. So it's about these witches, and it's the girl from Percy Jackson, the old one. She's the
Oh yeah,
main character,
Alexandra
the super
Daddario.
pretty girl. Sure, that might be her name. I believe
That
you.
is her.
And so she's been adopted and she wants to find her birth parents, but there's weird stuff going on with her. She's like a very successful like pediatric neurosurgeon, but something weird's happening and she thinks she has these horrible powers and her mother is gaslighting her. And then mom dies
Couldn't relate.
and
Can't
she
relate.
starts to learn about what's going on. But there was 2 stories going on and I kind of predicted as soon as something happened, I was like, "Oh, that's who she is." I'm only on like 3 seasons in. There's 8 so far in the first season.
Wow,
So I
that's a
am
lot.
enjoying
Jeez.
that. I don't have a full opinion on it yet. I know. I don't want
That's
to come
no, that's fair. Sometimes it takes a little. I mean, especially if there's 8 seasons, like that's totally okay not to have a firm opinion on it yet.
Yeah. And then the other thing I watched the first 2 episodes of the new Daryl Dixon season, which is the Book of Carol. So this is season 2 of the Daryl Dixon
How do you like
show.
it?
I'm very much so liking it. So I actually got pressed for that. So I don't know how that's going to go. So I was like, well, I got to be up to date. So it's more about Carol than Daryl this season so far. And what I really love is I feel like they never really touched on Sophia's passing. Like
Mhm.
Carol just
Oh,
kind of
you're right.
suppressed
That
it
happened so
and
long ago.
became,
Yeah.
yeah, badass. But there was something that happened early on in the season that you see that Carol's still struggling with Sophia's death, as a mother would, but you never
Sure.
really saw it. So I really love that they're actually doing nods to the show from the beginning of the series and actually having her process this, even though it's all these years later, because that's a wound that never fully heals. So I'm actually super duper loving that. I think it's very sad and very
Nice.
sweet, and they're doing it beautifully.
Yeah, I do like the callbacks. You know me, I'm a sucker for callbacks. Granted, I'm not watching the show, but still, at the end of the day, if they're doing justice to the past, so I'm all about that. You know that. Nice. What are your thoughts on Agatha, real quick? I mean, this last episode was a big reveal.
Non-spoiler? Yeah. Oh my God,
Now,
Brielle called it.
by the time this comes out, episode 6 is out, which we haven't talked about yet. So episode 5, the big reveal, obviously, is that teen is
Warning.
3, 2, 1, Wiccan. In a very
Yeah.
first of all, that episode was fun in general. Like the karaoke, play the actual
Yeah.
song, like that song's a bop. Stuck in my head. I was singing it the other day. I thought it was cool. The costume changes they all went through. Aubrey Plaza's having the time of her freaking life, looking
Dude,
like a smoke.
friggin'
Oh
love
man,
her.
she's stealing the show. But yeah, like you really get to see like the switch with Catherine Hahn, which I was like, oh wow, like the acting range. She went from that bubbly witch to, that just mean that she could
You're
be, and
just
then
like your mother, so much of your mother in you or something like that.
he killed
Because
him. So
she thought but she really did think that he was hers.
yes, I think he definitely did. And so where we left off is he tossed the remaining three witches into the mud. Aubrey Plaza has disappeared, so they don't know where Rio's at. But they all get sucked into that mud. We don't know what's going to happen to them, and he gets he down to a T. The big reveal, he's Wiccan. I'm excited. We get to see Billy Maximoff.
I
We're
love when they
seeing
did the
what's
stick on the
happening
head.
with him. So it's great.
I need to rewatch that because I was a little tipsy after we were done recording last week, and yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely need to
we
rewatch
definitely
it.
were, and we did watch it that night. So you're going to be on the plane. We watch it. Episode 6 is out now, which we'll talk about on Canteen Hour, I'm sure. So I liked it. I really thought it's great. And Marvel Television is kind of have an issue where they kind of rush their things, but this one doesn't feel rushed. I'm glad that they did this reveal in episode 5 to pave the way, so we're not rushing things at the end because we're kind of getting the story to tell that they seem to be wanting to tell. And I just hope
Mhm.
it sticks the landing in the last few episodes. But man, it's probably one, if WandaVision's the best Marvel show, this might be like right below it as of right now, depending how it ends. I'm really enjoying this one. I'm loving the vibes. I'm loving the acting. I'm loving the storytelling. The Salem witches and they're riding on their broomsticks. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that they got to ride on the broomsticks,
they
and you're
were
like, "Oh,
talking. Yeah,
we don't like to do it, but if we have to
it's
do
so
it."
cliche, and
Yeah.
they had to make their own broomsticks, and it was fun. It was like a cool little like they pick on the witch lore a bit, and it was good, man. I thought it was good.
I agree. It's a lot of fun. But I like that too, though, where you're saying like, I'm glad they revealed it now because it's like, how many of these like last scenes have we gotten? It's like, well, I hope that pans out. I hope that goes somewhere.
We
So
haven't seen
obviously,
Shang-Chi still in how many years? Like, what the hell, man? Or uh, Jon Snow still hasn't come back into the MCU
well,
from Eternals.
oh
Like,
my god, I forgot about Jon Snow. Well, he doesn't know anything, anyways. But we
he
saw
doesn't want
Hulkling
it.
at the end of She-Hulk. So are we going to get Hulkling and
Yeah,
Wiccan together? Like I mean, I
I
feel like they
hope
can't
so.
ignore that.
No.
But yeah, all these just like end credit scenes. What's okay? That's great. That's so and so. Is that going to go anywhere?
Well, we're
But
setting
this
up for the
has
Young
to go somewhere.
Avengers, but
Oh, 100%. But this has to go somewhere in the next few episodes. They're not going to ignore that they just outed Wiccan. He's been a big part of every single episode.
and Wanda's still having an impact on this episode despite not being in it. So, yeah,
And
I
is
guess
it
we'll
Wiccan
see.
from this universe? Is it Wiccan from another universe? Like, why is he there and Wanda wasn't able to
Are
find
they
him?
gonna
He was
have? Yeah,
obsessed with Agatha, not obsessed with Agatha, but he had Agatha up on a pedestal. So, I mean, he wouldn't have somebody who tried to kill him and try to kill his mother on a pedestal.
true,
So,
true.
or maybe he just doesn't remember.
Well, I wonder if they go the comic book route of her son's soul going into Wiccan or Billy or
Mephisto.
whatever. Like there's gotta be something more at play there. Who knows? I mean, but you're right. Who knows? I'm curious about the spell. Did he put it on there? Did Mephisto, mother freaker
Oh, he could have done
Mephisto?
it to himself because she made the comment about even the person who cast it doesn't know
That's true. Like who did the
who.
spell? And I'm sure that's going to be a big reveal too. So obviously there's
Can't wait to
more
hear how
to
wrong
at
we
play
are.
with Rio. Everything we're talking about is going to be wrong anyways. Uh, so let's go into. I've done some things. So what I've read, my review this week was Exorcism at 1600 Penn from IDW Publishing. I love a good possession story. This was written by Hannah Rose May. It was the art by Vanessa Del Rey, colors by Jordi Belair, and letters by Hassan Osman Elhal, who is just an absolute beast in the lettering game right now. He is just about lettering almost all of your favorite comics right now. The dude is just a machine, deservedly so. He's awesome. But this is, this lady, she becomes president. It starts off very kind of hitting close to home with like tumultuousness and this, you know, she's become president. There's just a lot going on in politics, and the initial first pages, you don't really see anybody's faces. And then the standout for me was the way that they colored like her look compared to everybody else's look, kind of like she's in bright red, everybody else is in dull colors. But this is more of a story about her kids. And so her daughter essentially is just stuck online, going down the path of, oh God, everyone's got some shit to talk on social media, and her daughter's reading too much of it while the brother is like this popular guy. And so she's going down the spiral of just depression and not having friends and all this. And that's the stuff that lends you to the devil. And so there's some really cool things that this comic book does where they give you glimpses, like jump scares. I imagine if you're watching a film, like the devil appears really quick and kind of comes at her
Ah.
and is in the background. And so she's having dreams and things like that. So she's slowly becoming possessed, and it's going to go from there. And I love that even more because the White House is one of like the most haunted places too. So I think that kind of goes into it. But there's also like a sub story going on with these operatives overseas. They're catching a disease, the Havana disease or something like that it's called. And so it seems like there might be more at play here than just a normal possession. So we'll see what it is. One issue out.
Cuba?
Yeah, I
Interesting.
think so. I don't know, but it was a good comic book, man. Shout out to Greg Katzman out there at IDW. Pay him a visit. He's awesome. He's like the coolest dude in comic books right now, who is the publicist wise. I did watch some Mickey Mouse horror before I fell asleep, like half of it. It was basically Steamboat Willie is
Oh,
out there as a public
for a
domain.
second, I was
It's like the Mousetrap or something like that. I don't know. They're at like
yeah, at
this
first I was thinking like the
knockoff.
house, when the House of Mouse turns to the House of Villains, that's what I was thinking
Oh
when they
yeah,
play the
yeah, yeah,
clip,
yeah.
like,
No,
trick or treat on
we are
Halloween."
essentially at this knockoff Dave and Buster's. This teenage girl's there overnight. This guy who owns the place is like obsessed with Steamboat Willie. He's back in his little theater room inside the place that he
He's
owns. So like
obsessed with, like, the real Steamboat Willie?
he's watching
Like, is he
Steamboat Willie
watching the
because it's
Disney
public.
one?
He's watching it. Yeah, he is. They start with like a Star Wars like crawl that says we've reached out to Disney. They've ignored us. We are not affiliated with Disney. Don't sue us. All this kind of stuff. It's kind of funny. But the guy's
Right,
obsessed.
that's funny.
He kind of has like a goblin moment with Norman Osborn where like the mask is talking to him maybe or something. So I don't really remember. I fell asleep. So I
Okay.
haven't finished this movie. All I know is I started it and it was like off the rails already. And so I have to go back and finish it to let you know my thoughts. Supernatural. I'm almost done with season
Hmm.
13. I feel like you
Trying to
can
think
kind
how
of tell.
13 ends.
I right now the last like Jack's been taken. The last
Who
episode I
took
saw
Jack?
the he's in that other the bad Gabriel from the alternate universe.
Being the bad Michael?
Yeah, sorry, Gabriel. We found mouth stitched shut and stuff like that by pre-founding
Oh, by the
KFC Colonel
evil Colonel
Sanders.
Sanders, Asmodeus.
Yeah, but see the prophet. So the Asmodeus is like Colonel Sanders before he founded KFC. The prophet is
Mhm.
Colonel Sanders after he founded KFC because he's fat, but he also looks just like Colonel
Oh,
Sanders.
Donatello. I
So
love
that's how
when
I
Dean
just
eats
that
them.
yeah.
He's like, "I'm named after him." The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? No, the
Yeah.
sculptor, the Renaissance sculptor. Fucking love Dean.
Satan's taking over heaven, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, taking over heaven. He's doing weird neck shit with the girl who's the demon. I don't know. All I know is I'm almost done, so I'm almost there. I feel like you can tell they're kind of running out of ideas because Lucifer's back. We're getting more to like there's less hunting, I guess, with like
Yeah.
street level things, and it's more angels and Lucifer and these beings that have way too much power for Sam and Dean to really be involved at all. And so I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
you can
true.
kind of tell like, oh, this is the beginning of the end. They're kind of at this point where things are bigger than they are, is how I feel.
Mhm.
And so it doesn't, but
I
that's
mean,
where I'm
every
at. We'll
season you
say
have
that
to get bigger, so, like, who are they gonna fight in the last season?
we're
Like, it only
well,
gets
obviously
bigger.
I already know who they fight in the last season and it's not a big, I know who they fight, but going from there, I have watched half of VHS. Yeah, I've watched a lot of half stuff. VHS Beyond, which is the latest installment in the VHS series. It's a bunch of anthologies. This one just came out on Shudder. Stu at nerdinitiative.com did a great write up on it, but this one's basically aliens. It's not bad. It's not great. The first VHS is the crescendo. So take that with what you will. I do recommend check it out. Talks about Agatha, the Penguin. I'm not going to spoil because Lauren's not caught up. But if
No, I've only seen the first one.
Christina I can never pronounce her last name, but if she doesn't get an Emmy for the acting, especially she just did in this most recent episode, dude, highway robbery. The world building that's going on, the character building that's going on, they did some things that I didn't expect them to do yet this early on. It's so damn good. It is probably like the best comic book television season so far that has ever come out. It's that good.
Wow.
Granted, we got to see how it ends,
Yeah.
but it's amazing. Let us know if you've been watching it. The last thing I want to talk about because I can loosely talk about this now, is I have watched Shrinking season 2. And
Which is
without going
not
into
well,
detail,
actually, it is out now. By the time
the
this
first 2
releases, it is
episodes
out.
are out. So you've gotten to see the first 2 episodes on Apple TV Plus. So I'm not going into spoilers. All I will say
I
is
will
that I
murder him
think
if he goes
season
into
2,
spoilers.
no, I won't. Season 2, I think, is my favorite season of television, period, in history.
I
I'm
mean, the
going to make
first
that
season's
claim right now.
so damn good.
It is about making mistakes and learning from mistakes and navigating relationships when you do make mistakes. That's the big theme of the season. I won't really get it crazier than that, but Harrison Ford probably delivered like the funniest moment that got a really good laugh. Jason Segel is just amazing. There's some couple surprise characters that show up that you're going to know right away who, like, oh my God, it was that moment. And there's a really funny moment in episode 11 that I can't talk about yet until it comes out, but just know that it basically was a conversation that happened in my real life. So we'll table that for like November when episode 11 comes out. It was, and everybody always compared me to Marshall from How I Met Your Mother as is. So it made it even funnier that this is a conversation that happened in like my real life. But god dang, dude, you have to watch Shrinking too. I don't know what to tell you. Like season 2 is amazing. Shrinking is, it's better than Ted Lasso. It is written by Brett Goldstein, funny enough, but like, god dang, man, it is so damn good. And I've been drawing on. So let's go into some news now. That's what I've gotten into. Speaking of supernatural and Jesus and exorcism stuff, Dogma is free from Harvey Weinstein. Alanis Morissette has won. God has won. Kevin has won. And on November 17th, he has some big things about Dogma to come out. But it is now released from the Weinstein Company, which is amazing because maybe that means we'll get it on DVD. It'd be more accessible to watch. Maybe it'll go to streaming soon. Who
Oh,
knows?
thank Alanis Morissette. Get it?
That's true. That's true. And speaking of your Disney ears, is there a pair that you might be buying soon now that they've come out?
It was Agatha all along. Oh, they're so pretty. It's got like the little thing in the middle that's on her necklace. And I saw the
Oh,
video with
yeah.
Catherine Hahn putting them on at Disneyland.
She's a
I
gem.
have not seen them in person yet, but it's so hard. Usually I wait till to buy my ears in the outlet unless like Scarlet Witch ears I bought immediately. They were getting sold out like crazy. They were flying off the racks.
Oh, yeah.
So I am going to need these ears, but I might wait and see if they
That's
end up
fair.
at the outlet.
I
Like I
mean,
wanted, yeah, there's a few that I'm like, these will probably end up at the outlet because they're not as popular as I think they'll be. I just love them. But dude,
they're
can they
expensive, but that's
they
awesome, man.
are. They're like 35, $40 these days. But if you
Yeah.
wait for the outlet, they can be anywhere from 5 to 15.
Which is awesome. I would rather get ears for $5 because then you can spend more on other things in life. I don't know. Everything's expensive as it is.
Beer,
Speaking of outlets,
car bombs.
um, Jesus, I don't know how you do those things. I can't do those things. I
They're
can't. I will do
so
shots, but I can't do car bomb. No,
yummy, but they're so yummy. I just
they're not. It's Jaeger. Oh,
it's not Jaeger.
it's not what it. It's in.
It's Guinness, Bailey's, and then Irish whiskey.
Oh, that's what was I do? I did something
A
with
Jaeger bomb,
That's what I was thinking of.
like
You're
Red
right.
Bull and Jaeger.
I don't do a lot of shots these days, kids. I make mixed drinks, but I'm a 34-year-old man now. Okay, I have to be drinking.
I
The
don't do
fine
shots. I
things.
didn't take car bombs for like
You don't do
13
shots, Lord.
years.
You've been doing a lot of car bombs lately. I'm
Okay,
genuinely
I did. I
concerned.
took
Are you
like
okay?
13 years. So I had one night where a friend came to town. I had way too many car bombs. And it was like one of 6
It looked
times
like
ever in
Iraq
my
in
entire
Lauren's
life
stomach.
I threw up. And then like we were at a friend's house like a month ago and was talking to some people that are from Ireland who were talking about Guinness. And they're like, oh, we're doing car bombs. And I was like, oh, I'm good. I don't do car bombs anymore. And they're like, and I'm like, you know what? All right, I'll do one. And so I did one. And then they kept bringing them to me. And they were so yummy. And then when we were of course I was going to do it with my daughter on her 21st birthday at Disney.
True.
But I don't even know how much
you had
trash
to.
kind of stuff. Okay. So yeah, so
Crazy.
some spirit Halloweens. Thinking of dying, or speaking of dying, let's go from some spirit Halloweens will be coming spirit Christmases once Mariah Carey.
I'm excited. Do you know how many cool? Like, why didn't they do this sooner? I'm excited. I'm gonna get so many cool animatrons and stuff like that for Christmas. Like, I'm gonna be a sexy Santa Claus, maybe even.
I hope
I
we
don't
get some
know.
Krampus stuff, some more nightmare
Oh yeah,
Christmas
I
themed
didn't even
stuff.
think about that.
I think they actually had some Krampus stuff this year, and now that would make more sense if they're going into the spirit or spirit.
I mean, if
Christmas.
those places are just gonna sit empty anyways, why not get in the Christmas biz, dude? And then
Yeah,
we
I
go
don't
to
think-
why don't we spirit of every, like St. Patty's Day, for example? Why don't we spirit of Valentine's Day? Let's
Oh,
spirit
fuck
of
Valentine's Day.
I mean, agreed. But let's spirit of Memorial Day. We'll all be dead
All
soldiers. I
right,
don't
we
know.
need to stop at Christmas because I cannot spend more time redecorating my house.
That's true. Yes. But I'm pumped. I'm wicked pumped for that. Just like I'm very pumped for Henry Cavill to be starring in a live action Voltron movie. The guy's a wicked nerd. He's finally getting into the
He
biz.
is such a
Just,
nerd.
I know it's like, get this man in these movies. What's wrong with you guys? He's awesome.
I was
Stupid.
gonna say he needs to come to the Marvel universe. I was like, oh, wait, he did.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised still to
The
see
whole
him in Marvel.
package.
In the last bit of news, our friend, not friend, because we don't know him, but our man Blue Beetle Zolo, I can never pronounce his last name, but Maria Dueno. I sorry,
The kid
Zolo.
from Cobra Kai. I'm
I
Blue
just said we're
Beetle.
friends, but we're not friends. Yes, he's been cast in Marvel's Nova
He's never
Disney
been on the
Plus
show,
series.
not a friend of the
Nope,
show.
doesn't even know who we are, but we're friends. And but yeah, he's going to be in Marvel's Nova's Disney Plus series, and there's yet to be a release date for that. But that's pretty good casting. He's going to be Blue Beetle in the DC universe because he was still going to be there, and now he's going to be in Marvel. So get that bag, son. I still haven't watched Cobra Kai Part 1 of the
He's
final
young and
season.
talented.
He is for
I
sure.
did. If you've seen any of the other seasons, you've seen this season.
I just forgot about it. It happened when we were on the cruise. I just never felt inclined to watch it. I don't know. But they are going to be making apparently a Karate Kid movie with Jackie Chan and then what's his name who is the main dad in why am I forgetting his name all of a sudden? He's at every Comic-Con. It's he was the main kid in Karate Kid and he's the dad of the girl and the son in Cobra
Daniel
Kai.
LaRusso.
Yeah, LaRusso
Oh,
is going to be in it too. Okay. I don't know what. Wow. Anyways, dementia moment. See, kids, you get older and your brain just slips away. Let's go into, anyways. You know what? Speaking of slipping
no,
away,
I have to look it up because I'm having a brain fart.
yeah, what the hell is
What is
happening?
Ralph
Liv-
Macchio?
yes, Ralph Macchio is going to be, my heavens. And there's, goodness gracious. He's going to be in it too with
It's rare
Jackie
that we have
Chan.
the brain farts at the same time.
This
Yeah.
is tough, kids. We're going to move on from this. We're going to roll into some cryptid talk. And
Alcohol affects your
I
memory.
don't know. Kids, they're doing 50 million things all at one time. All of it affects your brain. Let's go into cryptids now. We'll be right back in just a moment. Boom. Looking for this? Halloween season, spooky things. We love ghosts. We love all of that stuff. Yeah, ghosts are cool.
It's War
But you know what's
Machine.
cooler?
Okay.
I know. You know what's cooler? Cryptids, all right? Freaking bats. Freaking moth-sized bats. Bunny men.
Yes.
Loch Ness Monster of Chesapeake Bay is cool.
Chupacabra.
We're not talking about that little stupid dog. I'll punt that dog across but I won't
We
fight the
did him
Mothman.
last year. We're not doing Chupacabra this year.
We are not. So cryptids are technically creatures whose existence is unsubstantiated. Now, we did do 2 episodes last year, one at Halloween, and then we did a Christmas one. Many in our Discord page. Join it if you haven't. Let us know if you want to get in there. We'll send you the link. They requested another episode. People love the cryptid talk. I do too, because when I was sitting there thinking of a new mascot for work one day, we talked about doing something cryptid. And I was like, what are the cryptids in Virginia? And then 2 hours later, I had gone down an entire rabbit hole of cryptids in Virginia. And I got really excited to do this episode.
I didn't
Last
even think to
Halloween,
look up Florida cryptids. I feel like I would just get skunk ape and
you guys,
Florida man,
yes, you do have the skunk ape. That is one I do
which
notice
is
there.
basically just Bigfoot in the Everglades.
Very true. Very true. So yeah, we did Bigfoot last year. We did the Wendigo. We did Chupacabra. We did the Jersey Devil. And now we are going to talk about a few more, such as Mothman, Hodag, Melonheads, Chessie, the Wood Booger, the mysterious vampire that is allegedly buried in Richmond, because I got to talk about that real quick. And obviously
He's
the
still alive. He's buried
Snallygaster,
alive. That's so sad.
Ravenmocker, and the Goatman, and of course the Bunny Man. So without further ado, Lauren, why don't you jump into this Mothman discussion?
So, Mothman folklore is from West Virginia. The Mothman is a humanoid creature that was reported to have been spotted in Point Pleasant, West Virginia from November 15th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. They have exact dates. He actually made it into the
Richard Gere even did a
newspaper.
documentary on this.
Oh my. So he made it into the newspaper with the title, Couple Sees Man-Sized Bird, Creature Something. The national press got a hold of the story. I guess it was a slow news day, and it spread around the country like wildfire, thereby creating the legend and bringing it into pop culture. There is a 2002 movie based on a 1975 book, Mothman Prophecies, with many sequels and some variations of different Mothman movies and whatnot. And there is an annual festival in Point Pleasant devoted to Mothman legend, and they usually get about 10 to 12,000 people a year. And they even have a Mothman museum. I looked at the museum. If you're in the area, it's like $5 for adults and like 2 for kids. So why the
Say
hell not?
less.
I mean, I did the Cryptozoology Museum in Portland, Maine last year. It is right next to Bissell Brothers. Do that. It's so cheesy, but it's so fun. And they even had beer cans with Bigfoot on them and stuff. Okay. So how this story started. So there was a couple that saw the Mothman. So in the paper, they said she said she saw a slender, muscular man about 7 feet tall with white wings. She couldn't describe its face
Ooh.
because it had hypnotic eyes. The couple claims that they then sped away and the creature flew after their car, making a screeching sound and following them as far as Point Pleasant city limits.
Okay,
So
so first of all, I just looked up how far away Point Pleasant is for me. It's 6 hours. But it's literally on the border of Ohio. Listen, you didn't see a Mothman. You saw some creepy drug head from Ohio, because everybody knows Ohio is not real and Ohio is such a crappy state. And so you probably just saw somebody wandering the woods of Ohio, okay?
no, what they probably saw, hold on, I had it in here somewhere. It was probably like a crane or a heron, is what they said. So here, I'll get there in a second. I don't believe this for a second. So after this, other people claim they saw similar things. It's believed the name actually came from the Batman villain Killer Moth. So in December of the
Ooh.
following year, there was a bridge that collapsed, and unfortunately, 46 people passed away. Many believed this was somehow connected to Mothman. Chances are what the couple saw here was an out of migration sandhill crane or a heron. Those things can get really big, and you don't realize they're so big because they're always far away. But if you like all of a sudden like scared one in the middle of the night and it put its wings out, like I could see
It's
that
true.
being like the sandhill cranes, like if they're the ones like we get, like them motherfuckers like walk across the street like they own it, and like they're not slowing down for. I saw one get hit by a car one time.
Listen, I've
Uh,
been to West Virginia, spent 6 months in West Virginia as well. Some of the people who live in West Virginia could be mistaken in the dark for some cryptoids. Trust me, those people are wolf. Wolf. Not everybody. Sorry, people of West Virginia, to maybe the half person. If the Mothman's listening to this, you're beautiful, baby. But yeah,
Come
wolf.
carry in your love with me. So there are some cryptozoologists and others that believe the Mothman is just aliens. So
Ooh.
according to Georgia newspapers, I can't even try to say this. Russian ufologists claim, not Georgia the state,
It's
Russian
always Russia.
UFOologists claim that Mothman sightings in Moscow foreshadowed the 1999 Russian apartment bombings.
Yeah, wasn't it the
Thought
whole
that was
thing?
an
Like, if you
interesting and
saw
weird fun
Mothman,
fact.
there was going to be a major disaster within the next couple of days.
You know, I've never seen any of the movies or anything.
I saw the
I
movie. It
just
actually wasn't as creepy as I was hoping. Like, I was hoping it'd go horror. It was kind of a snooze fest, man.
I mean, like, I guess I had heard Mothman being pretty creepy, but like, it's new. If its first origination was in the '60s, it's like, how creepy can it be with something like this? Says the person who's
Get
terrified
real
of
weird
Jeepers
with it,
Creepers.
man. I don't know.
But also, I don't think Supernatural ever touched it. So, but
They
I guess I was
didn't.
just genuinely surprised that it only went back to the '60s, because a lot of these go back a little bit further, especially
Well, you
when we were
would.
doing them last year. They went back way
Oh
far.
yeah, you expected like primitive cultures would
1600s,
always think
yeah.
like these weird things, and it would make sense that these lores were born, right? Because
Or you tell the stories to the kids back in the day to prevent the kids from wandering off because you didn't have, locked doors and shit like
yeah,
that.
you had to protect the kids. You didn't have Apple Air tags, that's for sure. But so yeah, it
Right,
is a relatively new
exactly.
one. um, but West Virginia, I mean, it's a coal mining state, so who knows? Maybe people got all that coal mine dust in their lungs and it's going to their brains, and who knows? I do I'm surprised there isn't more like cheesy horror movies made of the Mothman. I guess because I also watched one called Cinderella's Revenge, where Cinderella gets really fed up with her stepfamily and slaughters them, and it was awesome. But you would think that like there's ridiculous movies always made, especially for Halloween time. Like, God damn it, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is even a thing, right? So
All
why
right, so
isn't
next
he
year we'll do a
more? I don't
Disney
know.
horror episode.
Guess we'll have to. I guess we'll have to. I don't really have
Well,
any thoughts on Mothman aside from that, though.
But what were you saying about Pooh Bear? That there should be more horror for him?
No, Mothman. I just thought like Mothman, like we've heard of the
Oh.
Mothman
Oh,
prophecies.
because
There's
Pooh
only
Bear
been
now
like
has 2.
one.
Gotcha, okay.
I'm just saying, like, I'm
There's
surprised
been
in
a
the day
few.
and
There's
age.
been more than one, but yeah, I'm surprised there's not more too.
It's not, yeah, because if you go on Amazon or Shudder or whatever, there's just like a ton of various, horror movies on there because that's what Shudder is. And you don't really ever see any on the Mothman. I mean, you've got clowns because clowns are always creepy, and you've seen other things on there, but Mothman's not one that like is ever shown. I guess it's
Yeah,
interesting. I don't
I'm
know.
trying to
I
think.
don't
I
know.
don't ever remember him getting
I
mentioned.
I only ever
Oh, where?
remember.
In Supernatural. I mean, like, yeah, I just actually searched it up and on Reddit. No, I don't think Mothman was ever in an episode.
Interesting. You would think they'd be doing something Mothman because that's like their whole. I don't know. Weird.
I mean, they didn't
Anyways,
name all the monsters that they killed. I don't know. The next
um,
question is who played the Virgin in Supernatural?
Sam. Just kidding.
Amy
Let's go
Garcia.
into Hodag. Not to be confused with a hot dog, which I recently got tattooed on my arm, or Ho Dog, which is a castrated male dog. Oh Lord, that took a turn. In American folklore, the Hodag is a fearsome critter who looks like a big bull-horned carnivore. It has a row of thick, curved spines down its back. He was created from the ashes of cremated oxen. This was due to the cruel treatment the oxen received by humans while they were alive. For any Paul Bunyan fans, baby, this one's for you. You may have heard of him. He's in just a few stories with his big old axe and his big old ox. And his, Hodags go a little bit further back than the Mothman. So far back, in fact, to the year 1893 in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Listen, they were probably drunk and just saw something crazy that night because Wisconsin's the most drunk state in the country. The
Well, it's
newspaper.
yeah, it's. This is one of the few cryptids that they flat out say is bullshit.
That's always fun when they say this ain't right. This ain't right. And so the newspaper articles actually claimed that the Hodag had the head of a frog, the grinning face of a giant elephant, thick short legs set off by huge claws, the back of a dinosaur, and a long tail with spears at the end. The reports were investigated by well-known Wisconsin land surveyor.
No, they were instigated.
Oh, instigated. Sorry. They were instigated. So this land surveyor, timber cruiser, and well-known prankster, Eugene
That
Shepard.
son of a gun.
He was just mad that he was named Eugene. He rounded up a posse
You
of
should have gone
locals.
by Flynn Rider instead.
He did round up a posse of locals to capture the animal. The posse claimed they needed dynamite to take care of it. Okay. Getting a little crazy now.
Dynamite.
Sounds like a senior prank gone wrong, if you ask me. A photograph of the remains of the charred beast was released to the media. It was the fiercest, strangest, and most frightening monster ever to set razor-sharp claws on this earth. It became extinct after its main food source, which is all white bulldogs, became scarce in the area. How in the hell did you come up with this story? Like, yes, they can
Probably because
only
he was
eat
drunk,
one
like you
specific.
said.
This guy was in a pub, wasted, and he's like, listen, there's this thing called the Hodag. It's got a frog head. It's got claws.
He was
Big,
drinking
meaty
a lot of
claws.
spotted cow that night.
They, I don't think the beer properly was, the keg wasn't cleaned. And so they might have gotten some parasites in his brain, if you feel me.
He wanted to think with the deep, mighty word, then they call him
Oh,
Sandy
God.
Claus.
Now this
You don't
jokester.
even have claws.
This jokester actually claimed he caught one alive in the year 1896. Listen, media didn't work like it did back in, media's always been a farce, I guess you can say. If they believed this,
Yeah,
it's no
so
surprise that the
bullshit.
media is believing shit these days. Oh, he actually did this with the help from bear wrestlers. Yes, bear wrestlers. They supposedly put
What an
chloroform.
occupation.
What's
What do you
your
do for a
job?
living? I wrestle bears.
You're at some Wisconsin bar. You roll up to that big old woman at the end of the bar and you're like, hey, baby. She's like, hey, what you do for a living? And I don't know why they're Southern in Wisconsin, but he's like, I bear wrestle. And she's like, oh, because I figure I don't know. Anyways.
We got gator wrestling down here. Well, we
now,
got bear wrestling too, but
they did put chloroform on the end of a long pole to capture this beast. He, of course, had to then display it at the first Oneida County Fair. Thousands then got to see it. Shepard tied wires to it and would move it to freak people out. It's alive! When news spread,
Ah,
the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. announced they would be traveling to Rhinelander to inspect the Hodag. The jig was up. Shepard came clean. My bad, dude. It was just a prank. I made a few
it
bucks.
was Agatha all
Listen, in the
along.
1800s, we didn't have TV, man. I had to do something to entertain ourselves, okay? The Hodag became the official symbol of Rhinelander, Wisconsin. There's actually a statue in the front of the Rhinelander Chamber of Commerce. It's also the mascot of a local high school, as well as the mascot for a local music festival, and lots of local spots love to represent that. See, I love this. Like, lean into it, man. I don't care that it's fake,
But the
right?
fest was started by some local, probably drunk
This
prankster.
dude was definitely drunk. Speaking of the Hodag, oh my god, I I will have to show you my son's Halloween costume because I just got this message in that Carrie sent me as I'm talking about this creature, right? This mythical creature. But I love like the local is definitely drunk and created some, and then they stuck to the bit and they made this thing and people believed it. And it's like, you are all
As is fair.
stupid.
Well,
I
it was
don't know.
like
It was
what was
awesome.
it? They admitted years later, like the Little Mermaid was like a monkey with the bottom, like a fish or something.
But I love it because it's like, what else are you doing in the 1800s? I'd be making
You
shit
can't
up all the
fact
time,
check this
honestly.
shit at all back then.
Let me go to Google. All right.
Yeah.
And it's just
But no, I
ridiculous.
didn't murder that person. Good luck proving it. There's blood
Yeah.
on you. You can't prove that's the victim's blood.
You can't prove anything. Oh
You'll
my god.
never be able to figure that out. Okay.
It's hilarious. I love it. I wish we could do more of this. Like these are the harmless pranks I live for versus whatever's going on
Creating
these
cryptids.
days. Yeah.
I think that's what's so one of the really neat things about the comic, like Something's Killing the Children, is that the monsters are created from bullshit. And so I
Yeah.
think that's a fun way to look at like monster
It
creation. And
is.
obviously, in Supernatural, it's not the tulpa or tulpas are created from people concentrating a lot on specific cryptids, basically. So cryptids become real monsters in certain
They
stories.
do. They do.
Dun,
Why
dun,
don't you take us to
dun.
this next it's not a candy, but the melon head.
Melonhead, yeah. So this one's interesting. So they basically attack humans who travel into their territory. They're sometimes known to eat people. They live in the forests of Michigan, Connecticut, and Ohio.
There's
They
Ohio again.
are essentially humans with giant heads,
It's
melon like, you
bulbous
might say.
melon-like heads. Yes.
So the name is on point. Each area has a bit of varying information. So if you're in Ohio and you see a melon head, they were actually originally abandoned children that a scientist by the name of Dr. Crow decided that he was going to take care of at his facility. This crazy ass scientist then experimented on the children, and one of the experiments involved putting chemicals into their heads, which resulted in the melon head look. This also caused them to become mentally ill. That, combined with years of abuse, made them brutally kill Dr. Crow and eventually burn everything to the ground. Because the kids are terrified of the outside world, they attack and eat those who enter the woods they live in. Some inbreeding, of course, has also occurred, and that has helped them keep their giant heads and has helped them stay creepy and crazy.
Interesting.
Meanwhile, in Michigan, they supposedly live near Felt Mansion, although they've also been seen more south in forest areas of Ottawa County. According to one story, they were originally kids with hydrocephalus, and they lived in the Junction Insane Asylum near Felt Mansion. The story explains that after enduring physical and emotional abuse for years, they became feral mutants, and they were then released into the forests surrounding the asylum. The local county there, they have said that asylum never existed. However, it was at one point a prison. People
Hmm.
claim that the mansion has ghosts of these kids, and the kids actually killed and cut up the people who fucked with them, and they hid the body
Good for you, kids.
around the
Okay.
mansion. There was a 2011 film called Melonheads, which is based on this Michigan legend. Now off to
Yeah, there was.
Connecticut. Yeah, I didn't see it. I mean, that would be
I
but
didn't
this
know
is
this.
an episode like that of Supernatural. They weren't
Well,
melon heads.
I'm thinking now, like their heads just look like the drop heads. The drop mask in the Batman, where that dude in the beginning, where he's like robbing the store, has that like drop. I don't know why that's just coming. That's what I think of, but that's all I'm seeing now with these melon heads.
Well, in the picture I saw in like Wikipedia and whatnot was it just looked funny, and none of them looked like children, and then all these descriptions are children. So in Connecticut, there's actually a couple versions that exist here. The first legend says Fairfield County was the location of an asylum for the criminally insane that burned down. So I guess we're going back to that again. So there was 10 to 20 inmates unaccounted for, supposedly having survived and escaped into the woods. These people got their lemon heads from cannibalism. They did this to survive winters, yet they didn't turn into Wendigos, and
Hmm.
inbreeding began again. This caused hydrocephalus, and according to the second theory, the melonheads are descendants of a colonial era family from Shelton Trumbull who were banished because of witchcraft, so they fled to the
Ooh.
woods. This led to breeding and thereby melonheads. So a lot of this is cannibalism, poisons injected into your head, and
Lead
inbreeding.
in the water, folks. Lead
I wonder
pipes.
how many like some of these stories like
These people definitely have like lead poisoning.
well no, and like the inbreeding can cause all sorts of
Oh yeah,
different
especially in Ohio, they're all inbreds there. Guys, this is
oh
this is the
like
Matt Ross
the
shits on
Ohio
Ohio. I'm
toilets.
sorry.
Poor Ohio. I feel so bad for Ohio.
I
Like there
don't.
have you seen like
It's
there's
so
like
dumb.
a something that went viral and it was like all the things the teacher didn't want the kids to say in class and it was like skibbity and riz and all this bullshit. And then it's Ohio because like Brielle uses Ohio as like a negative thing. And I'm like, what did
Yeah, because
Ohio
Ohio
ever do to you?
sucks.
She's never even been to Ohio.
I have, and it sucks. Cincinnati, I like Cincinnati. Cincinnati's cool.
I've only been to Dayton and that
The
was
rest
for
of Ohio sucks.
competitions.
All right, there ain't nothing to see out in Ohio but cornfields and melon heads
All right.
and inbred kids. I don't. All right, whatever.
This is
Let's take.
Chessie, not Nessie.
No, we're going to go to the waters of the Chesapeake Bay now, where we are
Oh.
going to talk about Chessie, not Nessie, because Chessie is a snake-like aquatic
I think there
animal.
might have been some ripping off
I
here.
think so
You
because
sure it
this
wasn't a
one,
giant whale penis?
I don't know, maybe, but this animal
Have you ever
swims
seen a
the.
picture of a whale penis?
No, I don't go googling whale penis. Are you okay? Car bombs and whale penis? Are you? Is this a cry for help?
There's a
What's your
theory
Google
that
search
the
history? Do I want to
the
know?
I don't care. Um, there is a theory that the Nessie head, it looks like a whale's penis coming out of the water.
It's just a
And if you
whale showing its dick to everybody.
I'm gonna Google whale penis and send it to you.
Oh boy. Anyways, this is a snake-like aquatic animal that swims the Chesapeake Bay. The first sighting may have been in the 1840s in the area now called Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach, also not the classiest of places. More sightings in the bay followed in the 1930s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. The earliest purported sighting of Chessie-like creature may have been from a military helicopter flying over Bush River in 1936. Something reptilian and unknown in the water was observed by the helicopter's crew. However, a Chessie sighting from a helicopter in 1936 seems a little unlikely considering the helicopter flight that by Sikorsky was near Stratford, Connecticut for the first time in 1939. So the math ain't mathin', folks. Now,
Dun, dun,
as
dun.
I have a picture now of a whale penis in my inbox I will not be looking at yet. In 1978, witnesses claimed to have seen Chessie near southern Maryland's Calvert Cliffs State Park and in the Potomac River in Westmoreland County, Virginia. A sketch of an unknown sea creature drawn by boater Trudy Guthrie was published in the Evening Sun in September of 1980. It was later identified as a manatee from Florida. Very easily confused. I get it.
I mean, that was mermaids were manatees,
It's
right?
true. Manatees are occasionally sighted in the area. Unlike the reports of a serpentine creature, manatees create a smooth footprint as they move rather than undulating from side to side.
Well, because when they come up and then they just leave like a big
They're
circle
sea
in
cows,
the water.
yeah. In 1982, Robert and Karen Frew supposedly videotaped Chessie near Kent Island. Their video shows a brownish object moving side to side like an aquatic snake. Oh, God. No, I'm just thinking of whale penis.
That's probably what it was.
The whales up there were like, yeah. Oh, God.
Why
Another
do you think
claim of
the ocean's so salty?
oh, no. Another sighting of the beast occurred in 1997 off the shore of Fort Smallwood Park, very close to shore. The most recent reported sighting occurred lastly in April 5th, 2014, at 1:40 a.m. because you can clearly see what's going on in the ocean in the middle of the night. Be real. This was actually, there was while parked on the side of the Arundel Beach Road directly next to the Magathie River, when the tide was really high, a Maryland resident and his friend reportedly saw Chessie less than 5 feet away from his car. He described it as a snake-like creature, 25 to 30 feet in length without fins, topped with a slender football-shaped head, and black in color. Although he could not distinguish between it having scales or having leathery skin, the creature did not rise out of the water, but the head and tail just breached the surface of the water as it moved with a serpentine motion. The witness first questioned himself if it was two separate animals traveling behind one another, but soon realized that it was one creature because of the pattern it created on the water surface. There are no known snakes in Maryland that get anywhere close to 25 feet long, although no photo was obtained because the witness did not have a cell phone in 2014, apparently. And he was also so busy trying to figure out what the hell I was looking at. Okay, bud, that he did not think to take a picture of the cell phone. The witness was so moved, he called the Maryland Department of Natural Resources soon after getting. Come on, brother. If I'm seeing some weird shit, you best believe I got night mode on this iPhone. And I'm like, and taking pictures. And also, like, I'm curious. So, like, the ocean is a deep, crazy place. I'm wondering how many of these, like, aquatic creatures might just be like oceanic beings coming to the surface for the first time that we've never seen before.
Oh, they're constantly finding new animals with, ocean. And
Exactly.
I remember years ago, like that first, like I think it was called a
That
thrill
looks like a
or frill
tongue.
shark.
There's
Oh
no
yeah,
whales in Loch Ness, but I can see what. That's a whale.
yes, it
Oh
is.
my God.
Oh my lord. So do you
Lord.
remember the videos of, I think it was a frill shark, and it was like a prehistoric shark that nobody had seen in forever, and it
Yeah, yeah,
came
yeah.
to shallow waters, and it died shortly thereafter. It came to shallow waters because it was sick, but it was crazy looking. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the ocean is ginormous. I mean, they've only
There's so
discovered
many
part of
things.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many creatures, even in the woods and stuff, that we haven't figured or found yet that I really wouldn't be
No wonder there's
surprised
so
if
much.
maybe this is a creature like an aquatic creature that's come up, like especially as global warming takes hold. I bet you we're going to see more and more creatures and things that we've never seen before. It just
Yeah,
is.
they're
And
just
the ocean is such a hard
massively.
place. We haven't fully been able to like explore the ocean floor because we haven't figured out how to pressurize things. So
Oh my gosh, yeah, the pressure down there is insane.
just ask
So
Ocean Gate.
Snallygaster, this is a fun name. So,
Yes.
fun fact, DC just had a beer fest named after this, which started in 2011. The Snallygaster is reported to be a flying reptilian bird like creature that hunts farm animals and children in the South Mountain region. The Snallygaster may have its origin in stories told by German immigrants who settled in the region in the 1730s. In the early 1900s, sightings were reported in a local newspaper. There's so many animals, like a flying squirrel, a flying frog. Like, there's so many
Everything flies.
animals.
Everything's got wings.
If it doesn't fly, yeah, it still falls with style.
Red Bull,
So
man. It gives you wings.
oh, maybe it was just somebody drinking Red Bull. So, in American folklore, the snallygaster is a bird reptile chimera originating in the superstitions of early German immigrants, later combined with sensationalistic newspaper reports of the monster. So, some of the first sightings associate the snallygaster with Frederick County, Maryland, specifically in the areas of South Mountain, Braddock Heights, and the Middleton Valley. Later reports would say that they found them encompassing an area to include Central Maryland and DC.
Yeah. It's a fun little thing, right? Like DC has a lot of things. Snallygaster, it's probably just Mitch McConnell walking the halls of the Capitol building and we just confuse him for some cryptoid because he's on death's door. But
It's fun to say.
it is a fun word, Snallygaster. DC did just have this big beer fest. I would love, apparently it's like the best beer fest in the country. Would love to make it there someday. That'd be fun. But it's, again, it origins 1700s. How many of that was just keeping your kids from not running after whatever it is in the woods or something like that, keeping them in check, so to speak.
Yeah.
Now, I will take the next two because they're short and because I really want to talk about the bunny man. So Dewey, Maryland. And now this one is known as the Maryland Wolfman. This creature is the enemy of the Snallygaster. Ooh, a fight. Oh, let them fight. It's like Godzilla versus Kong, but in the DC region. Imagine the comic or movie we can make about this. The beast is described as a mix of a wolf with human-like movement and stance. The Dewey appeared to rise to popularity in the mid-1900s with reports of the beast in local papers and reported sightings in 1966. Now, as of late 1970s, people have reported seeing or hearing the screams of the Dewey. So if you happen to find yourself near Gambrel State Park or some areas of Route 77, be on the lookout. You might just see this wolf-like creature. There really isn't much else from besides that I found. But if it's the enemy of the Snallygaster, I want to see him fight. That'd be dope. It's like Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. One flies, the other is this wolf creature.
Enter
Millie
Mothman.
Bobby Brown somehow in this movie for reasons we don't know. All right. Now, Keeping it in Maryland, we're going to go the Goatman. No, I'm not talking about Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. I'm talking about the Goatman of Maryland, which reportedly roams the back roads in Prince George's County. Legend is he is a goat herder who went insane and goes after people and mutilates pets. Oh boy. Other stories claim he is the victim of an experiment from the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. Descriptions of him, when they're trying to get lab meat, we accidentally create cryptoids. We're trying to figure out how to better agriculture, how to grow corn, how to get lab grown meat. And instead we just make the Goatman of Maryland. Now, descriptions of him are close to that of the a satyr. So he's got the body of a god, just kidding, a body of a goat. And still from like the waist down. And yeah. Although the stories of his presence go back years, Goatman's a legend that had a resurgence in the 1970s after a dog's death was blamed on him, because instead of, the creepy serial killer 17-year-old kid, we got to blame it on something, man. And mom's going to believe the Goatman over little Timothy mutilating the family dog. And now grab some hot chocolate, kids, gather around, get some snacks, sit with your kids, sit with your parents, have fun researching cryptozoology. Take a road trip if you can. Explore some of the areas where these creatures are said to roam. This may be a great way to get your child interested in more than electronics. It's a great way to get out and explore the sites, man. Go to the woods. Go find the Snallygaster. Go watch Godzilla fight Mothra. Yeah. And that's what I have on those two. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk on cryptids. But we got two more, folks.
So, Ravenmocker are feared entities in Cherokee mythology. These figures, referred to as witches, are believed to extend their lives by preying on the sick and dying. They're described as withered and aged. Are we sure these aren't the Sanderson sisters? Flying through the sky in fiery forms, emitting sounds similar to the call of a raven. After tormenting their victims, as one does, they actually eat their hearts, and that's how they gain the remaining years of the victim's life. Oh. So Ravenmockers are invisible to most people, but they are skilled medicine men that are able to see them and repel them, much like something's killing the children. Once recognized, a Ravenmocker is said to die within 7 days, much like the film. What the fuck was that?
The Ring.
Called? The Ring.
It's the Ring. You're going to die in 7 days.
Sick or near death to extend its own lifespan. At night, the Ravenmockers believed, we just said that one. They have arms that are outstretched like wings and the sparks that like trail behind it. Ooh. Their flight is accompanied by the sound of rushing wind as well as their cries. They're believed to gather at the homes of those who are dying. But you would think that they wouldn't do that. Wouldn't they want somebody who's still alive so they could live longer? So they go to the beds, they press down on their chest to restrict breathing, or they throw them to the ground. Once the victim is dead, that's when they actually eat the heart. But they don't actually leave marks behind, which is interesting. See, this could have been a cool supernatural episode. They would have been like, I think it could have as well. So other witches fear the Ravenmocker's powers, often fleeing when it arrives. However, medicine men, which we mentioned before, that can see them and prevent them from entering the home as well. So Ravenmocker is recognized in a true form, and it is believed, again, we said dying in 7 days. So Ravenmockers are described as old, withered figures due to the many lives they've stolen. And that's pretty much it. I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I hadn't either until I was researching this. It sounds cool. I love like a good old Native American folktale too, because something about it's like really interesting. They have some really cool like descriptions of creatures and drawings of creatures and things like that. Because again, how much of this was due to the peyote and whatever Aaron Rodgers is smoking, getting them high, and like also you're in the middle of the woods living on the East Coast without electricity and technology, like you're just creating stuff and stories. And I don't know. I just love that the human imagination can come up with this stuff, because I mean, come on, not real, but it's really cool. I think it's cool. And again, it would have been a great supernatural episode. Now this last one that I have, is the Bunny Man. Now the Bunny Man is an urban legend originating from 2 incidents in Fairfax County, Virginia in 1970. However, it's been spread throughout the Washington, D.C. and Maryland areas. The legend has many variations, which mostly involve a man wearing a rabbit costume who attacks people with an axe or a hatchet. That could have been a good supernatural episode. Most of the stories occur around Colchester Overpass, a southern railway overpass spanning Colchester Road near Clifton, Virginia, sometimes referred to as Bunny Man Bridge. Versions of the legend vary in the Bunny Man's name, motives, weapons, victims, description of the costume or lack thereof, and sometimes even his possible death. In some accounts, victims' bodies are mutilated. In some variations, the Bunny Man ghost or aging spectra is said to come out of his place of death each year on Halloween to commemorate the death. Fairfax County Public Library historian archivist Brian A. Conley extensively researched the Bunny Man legend. He has located 2 incidents of a man in a rabbit costume threatening people with an axe. The vandalism reports occurred 10 days apart in Burke, Virginia in the year 1970. The first incident was reported on the evening of October 19th. That's, right around this time of year, folks, by the U.S. Air Force Academy cadet Robert Bennett and his fiance. First of all, if a U.S. Air Force Academy cadet's like blaming something else, I can almost guarantee you they were out past curfew. They were doing something they shouldn't have done. And instead of getting in trouble with the Air Force, they're like, yeah, it was a bunny, man. He attacked us. And so now,
freaking bunnies.
He's out there with his fiance, man. He's engaged in some premarital activities, man. Around midnight, they returned from a football game. Would this go into triple overtime? Be real. Now, they were coming back. They reportedly parked their car in a field on Guinea Road. The plot thickens. To visit, quote unquote, an uncle who lived across the street from where their car parked. Okay. All right. Be real. You were doing the deed, man. Come on. Just say, yeah, we was banging. Now, this is where things get weird. They sat in the front seat of the car, the motor's running. They noticed something moving outside the rear window. Is it Uncle Timmy? I don't know. I don't know why everyone's named Timmy. Timmy's just a weird, creepy name to me. So do with that with what you will. Moments later, the front passenger window was smashed. There was a white-clad figure standing near the broken window. Bennett, let off some steam, Bennett, turned around the car while the man screamed at them about trespassing. Get off my lawn, saying you're on private property and I have your tag number. As they drove down the road, the couple discovered a hatchet on the car floor. So this guy was just probably some drunk farmer pissed that you're trying to bump uglies on his farm in the sanctity of his home after his wife left him because he spent too much time in the cornfields. Okay, so when the police requested a description of the man, Bennett insisted. God, I'm telling you, man, it was the Easter Bunny, a deranged Easter rabbit, was wearing a white suit with long bunny ears on his head. But he was wearing a white capirote of some sort. They both remembered seeing his face clearly, but in the darkness, they could not determine his race. The police returned the hatchet to Bennett after examination. Interesting. The second reported sighting occurred on the evening of October 29th, 1970, when construction security guard Paul Phillips approached a man standing on the porch of an unfinished home in Kings Park West on Guinea Road. Oh, Guinea Road. Lots of cool stuff happening there. Phillips said the man was wearing a gray, black, and white bunny costume and was about 20 years old, standing about 5 foot 8 inches tall. He weighed about roughly 175 pounds. The man began chopping at a porch post with a long-handled axe, saying, "You're trespassing, Red Rum. If you come any closer, I'll chop your head off." Probably just another 20-year-old playing pranks. That happens sometimes. The Fairfax County Police opened investigations into both incidents, but both were eventually closed for lack of evidence. In the weeks following the incidents, more than 50 people contacted the police claiming to have seen the Bunny Man. Several newspapers, including the Washington Post, reported that the Bunny Man had eaten a man's runaway cat. Wow, that sounds awfully familiar, much like the lies being told about people eating animals in Ohio, because it's always
the grandmother in Adam's family ate cats.
Listen, it always goes back to
Did
Ohio.
you see that
man.
video? It's like meanwhile in Ohio, and she's tracing the cat. Dinner's gonna be late.
I do wonder how much the Bunny Man played into like Donnie Darko a little bit, because in Donnie Darko,
God, I remember
I
that
watched
movie.
I watched it in film class, man. Still don't quite understand that movie, but it was a creepy bunny.
Once a million years ago. I was probably drunk when I watched it.
Yeah, I don't remember that movie at all.
I should revisit that one. It was Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
It was. Yes, it was. Would you? Matter of fact, the bunny comes and like, it's weird. It's a very confusing movie. Young Jake Gyllenhaal before he got really good at acting and took on different roles. It's obviously like Roadhouse. Clearly, it's a very serious movie.
Oh my god, Roadhouse is garbage.
Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't, I don't know, but I'm curious about this. It probably was just people like somebody you probably were trespassing, and so they got mad at you, and they're probably drinking out in the country. The other one just sounds like some 20-year-old kid having fun. The bunny man, people probably heard the story and ran with it. And it's like the clown incident. Remember when the clowns were like staring at people menacingly on the side of the road? It's probably like
That's a
that.
creepy
Just
supernatural episode.
well, yeah, but also like if I see a clown in real life coming after me, you can't do that today because you probably get shot. So that's probably why a lot of those pranks died down.
Yeah, clowns really
But
do not happen these days.
I would kill the shit out of a clown. I don't care if you're pranking me or not. You're coming after me. You're stupid, creepy clown. You're dead. You and your friends are dead. Dead. But that's all I have. There is one more. It's called the Wood Booger. It's out. It's just Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot in Virginia, and I'm not going into this
Wood
because it's Bigfoot.
bugger. Interesting.
Yep. It's just Bigfoot. But shout out to Wikipedia and Cryptid Wikipedia. They assisted us on this episode. So go donate to your local Wikipedia kids. They helped us. Do you have any final things? This is Cryptids, man. Did you have a favorite?
No.
You didn't
I
care
feel like
about
we
any of
did.
them. All right, fine.
No, I mean the one was fun to say. The I
Snallygaster?
already Snallygaster, yeah.
The
That was fun to say.
Tallywhacker.
Mothman's the only one I really had heard about before of the ones that we did because we really we did the main ones last year, so we had to kind of
Yeah.
dig a little deeper, and some of them were recommendations in the
Dig a
Discord.
little deeper.
Find out who we are.
Yeah.
But the Mothman, it's all just a bunch of hocus pocus.
I was gonna say that. I was about to say it's all a bunch of hocus pocus. Look at us, guys. Look at us.
But next week,
240 episodes in. We finished each other's sandwiches.
that's what I was
What's happening
gonna
next
say.
week?
Next week we're gonna do Carrie. I have not started the book because I have not fucking had time, but I will read it on the plane. I have 17 things I have to watch and read tonight. And we're doing our Patreon movie tonight, so we get to watch Freddy vs. Jason. So actually, my aunt's
Classic
a Patreon,
film.
and I saw her Saturday, and my cousin Tabby is like, "Oh, she's coming over to watch the Patreon movie," and I was like, "You're invited too," and she's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Freddy vs. Jason." She's like, "Oh God, no."
I mean, I can't say that I blame. Yeah, we're doing like we don't have to drink when you do these things, but some of the stuff I'm gonna make.
I haven't seen
people
this
drink.
movie since 2003, so this will be interesting.
Okay, so there's some fun things that we're gonna do. I'm gonna make people either choose Jason or Freddy because if you choose Jason, every time somebody says Jason or kills somebody, you have to drink. Every time Freddy says bitch or kills somebody or someone says Freddy, you have to drink. And if you know Freddy Krueger, his favorite words, bitch. Finish your drink anytime there's like the music or welcome to my world, bitch. And then drink every time there's sleep, dreams, hypnocil, Elm Street said, someone disrobes or there's boobs out, someone smokes or drinks, Elm Street house is shown, somebody's in a dream, or Freddy has a one-liner. So you don't have again, Patreon movie nights aren't about the drinking. It's more about coming together as a family. We like to say it. We just hang out and have a good time and vibe. We've done things such as the Pick of Destiny, and we just hung out. We talk about the movie as it's going on. We just have a really good time. And that's what it really, we just like to make it fun for people who do want to do that stuff. But if it's not your thing, hey, cool. But that's all we have. Yeah. Next week's episode, if Lauren survives New York City Comic Con, is going to be Carrie. And then look out for us at Disney. We're going to Green Bay. I can't believe I talked these fools into going to a Green Bay Packers game with me. Oh gosh, you guys thought, I can't believe this. It's awesome. Erica's talking about pumpkin liquor pre-gaming. I can't believe we're doing this. And Saturday, Lauren's throwing a surprise Halloween party. She just doesn't know it yet. So make sure you're following us on social media because you're
I
going
will
to get to see
talk to
cool
you
stuff.
about that. We will discuss that. That did cross my mind. But it's I don't know when this stupid UCF game is going to be yet. So
Roll the credits. Interesting. We'll find out this weekend when that is. Don't worry. But thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Go support the show. We'll see you guys next time with some Carrie Stephen King talk as we get ready to close out our Halloween season and roll into the Christmas season
already. Jesus.
We just started it, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, time flies.
Already almost hear the all I want for. I don't even want to go. I'm not ready to be there yet. I haven't gotten to enjoy Halloween yet. All these stupid ass hurricanes.
That's true. That's true. Anyways, enough of the press talk. Enjoy your spooky season. We'll be back next time. Cheers.